What's up, weirdos? Today we're going to be looking at the ProRevenge subreddit. Young and rude adults refuse to pay for public transport, but oh, sweet revenge at the end of the day. I work as a train driver. I drive small trains mostly, out on the countryside, and people are generally nice and well behaved. But of course, there are also the alcoholics, drug addicts, and general weirdos that use public transport, and some people that just live to be a pain in the ass. This was a few years ago. We were traveling in the late afternoon and my conductor, let's say C, storms into the driver's cabin, angry and annoyed, and tells me, "We have two rude good-for-nothing guys on board, and they're such assholes." What did they do? They have no tickets, refuse to pay, just laugh up in my face, and are saying, "What are you going to do about it?" What the hell, should I help you throw them off at the next stop? We can't because they're just traveling one station, so they're getting off at the next stop. Goddamn smug guys with their "what are you gonna do about it?" So we're both angry. I let the conductor rant and let off some steam. Next stop comes and the guys get off. The conductor angrily gestures at them. That's them. We continue the short remaining journey and have a break at the end station. Some hours later the train then goes back. Since it's on the countryside and it's a late weekend evening, the train is almost empty on the way back. The conductor knows where every passenger on board is getting off, and she's up at front with me. Chatting and all is fine again, until we approach the station where we let those guys off. We see two people standing there. It's them. My conductor beside me shines up like a goddamn sun. She says with the biggest smile on her face, "Do not stop." And I'm just laughing, slowing down the train, but not stopping though. When we pass them, my conductor opens the window, waves, and says loud and happily, "This is what I'm gonna do about it." The guys are staring at her with their jaws on the ground when we drive past them. We laugh all the way at our home station. We're the last train for the day. Edit. I wrote in the comments that we encountered these guys again a few weeks later. I'll post it here as well because these guys did not learn the first time. They apparently got on at the same station like last time, but we didn't notice them. They had plans to travel further than last time, but when the conductor went out to check the tickets, it went like this. Conductor spots them, recognizes them, says loudly among the other travelers, "Oh, are you able to pay for your tickets today?" They just fidget and say, "No, we ain't got no money." Well, ain't that a shame? Guess you have to get off at the next stop. Them. What the hell, can't you be nice and let us be? What the hell are we gonna do at that station? Guys, I don't give a damn. You're going off this train, you can walk to the next station. I'm calling the train behind us so they won't pick you up either. They got off. The other train called us later because they saw the guys walking on a forest path along the railway track. And I haven't seen these guys since. It's nice to know even the other train got in on this revenge. Let's just hope these guys have learned their lesson. Probably not. Yeah, probably not. Contractor procrastinates for profit, gets prison. This is something that happened to my grandfather. To understand him, he was a quality control engineer for a pretty major manufacturing firm, and he was a master of aggressively renegotiating deals. He was and is a strict taskmaster, not entitled or unreasonable, but if something went wrong, there would be hell to pay. So, he decided that he wanted to renovate his home, take the moderately big 2-story house and add 2 new bedrooms and a master bath. He brings in a contractor and gets a quote. Says as part of the work they'll need to completely refinish the front too. Grandfather agrees and they start work. It's a serious effort, winds up carving open the whole front of the house and all sorts of madness. Things go well enough at first, the destruction goes smoothly, then starts construction. At first, things were just slow going. Sluggish delivery from sources, slow permits from the city. You get the idea. Then things get silly. It took them over 3 months to start and finish the plumbing, 4 months for the insulation. My grandfather is paying for a lot of time and not a lot of work done. He's irritated about the speed, but besides making some noise, there's not really much to be done about it. Bit by bit, the house starts to come together. Then, as they're putting on the weatherproofing, an inspector comes in and puts a stop to the whole affair. The contractor had improperly filed the plans. Now, my grandfather is pretty furious by this point, but he keeps a cool enough head. starts asking what's going to be done about it with the contractor. The thinking was that they redraft the plans and send them out for reapproval. Contractor says he'll do it. 5 months go by. The house is just sitting there, fancy new framework still hanging in the breeze. Then all of a sudden, the contractor says he's pulling out. He had no idea the hell he'd unleashed. My grandfather didn't just jump straight to suing him. Oh no, sir, he took his time before even getting a lawyer. He did his homework. He tracked down every single client that this guy had had for the last 3 years and did a deep dive on the books to figure out what the hell happened. Turns out that this wasn't an isolated incident, just the most egregious. As it happens, this contractor had a penchant for screwing people over, turning minor renew jobs into complete dumpster fires. His modus operandi was to follow the changes for the city, make a private second set of plans, start making things based off the second set, intentionally let the city halt the construction, then restart the project on a third draft. After talking to some of the other customers, he and 8 of the victims collectively filed charges against him. They annihilated this guy. They took every cent he had, which wasn't that much. His scheme hadn't actually done him that much good. Liquidated his company, sent him to something like 15 years in prison for fraud, and got the state to help recoup expenses. 2 months later, a new contract company blitzed my grandfather's renovations, and he was able to drink in his master suite to toast his revenge. What a doozy for this contractor, and it makes it all the better seeing that not only the grandpa, but 8 other victims got their revenge on this ass. Piss me off? Have fun with SWAT. This happened about a year ago. I had just returned from a business-related trip to the frozen north, Canada, of which I had been gone for about 8 months. During this time, my wife had kept me apprised of everything going on in the neighborhood, as well as her suspicion that our new neighbors behind us, henceforth known as DDN for drug-dealing neighbors, were dealing drugs. Since I'm all about keeping my family safe, I install security cameras all around and inside my house. Most of my neighbors were perfectly fine with the cameras, and a few asked if I could set theirs up if they bought them. DDN, however, was not pleased. He waited until I was heading out to my car and confronted me, demanding I take them down.
Hey, take those cameras down. I don't need no one knowing my ass.
I've actually never heard that term before. No, they're watching my property. Can't see into your yard at all.
Man, screw you. Take those down or I will.
I ever see you on my property, you'll leave in a body bag. Okay, that's kind of edgy. At this point, I know my wife's suspicions were well founded. I watched the camera feeds and started noting that he had a lot of quick visitors around 3 a.m. Cars would pull up in front of my driveway. He'd meet them, exchanges were made, and the cars would leave. Not too long after, I got a motion alert on 2 of my cameras and my dog started going nuts. I saw my front door handle move. It's go time. I grabbed my shotgun and rushed to the front door, but as soon as I tried opening it, my beagle tried bolting outside, howling at the trespassers, unable to deal with him and properly holding a 12 gauge. I opted to keep my dog and yelled at the 2 men standing there to get the hell off my property. That night, my motorcycle was stolen. They broke the locks off. Every camera on the ground floor had to be repositioned / replaced. I checked the footage and watched as DDN walked up to them and hit them. I was done being a bystander. I contacted the police, but even with security footage, they claimed there was nothing they could do. I was furious. I knew who did it, had the proof, and there was nothing I could do about it. Yet. For the next couple days, I studied municipal and building codes. I started filing report after report on my DDN. Broken down cars in the yard, that's a violation. Broken gutters hanging off the roof, that's a violation. Barking dogs after 10 p.m., that's a violation. I nickel and dime them for anything I could, hoping to goad them into doing something. I put tainted gas in a gas can on the back of my Jeep, which was unsurprisingly stolen, and suddenly the dirt bike engine blew up the next night. DDN confronted me again, threatening that if the complaints didn't stop, he couldn't guarantee my dogs or my wife would be safe. Heated words were exchanged. He stormed up to me, and the encounter ended with weapons drawn and both of us going back inside our homes. Finally, the coup de grace Remember the security footage of DDN's late night visitors? I filed a report with the Counter Narcotics Division and included everything: license plate numbers, car models and colors, all the information I'd gathered for the past few months. They've got enough security footage for a search warrant, and the other evidence made sure it wasn't a friendly visit. I got to watch the security cameras as SWAT descended on their house. I got to see DDN and everyone else let out in handcuffs. I later found that the dogs I had called about were being bred and used as bait dogs. The police confiscated a small arsenal and enough drugs that those assholes won't be out of jail until I'm retired. Honestly, this story feels pretty fake. I mean, it starts off good and normal, but then the dialogue, and then the part with the police saying they can't do anything, and then with the footage, then the counter narcotics division saying they can do stuff with the footage. It seems a little fishy, but oh well. That's going to conclude today's episode. Oh, and be sure to regularly check your bank account just in case someone is stealing your money.